Welcome to my very first meal prep video featuring my cute gym hair. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make cauliflower crust quesadillas, and I'm also going to be making strip steak, asparagus, and mashed sweet potatoes. So let's go. So I'm actually going to have a lot going on at once because I'm making lunch and dinner. So I recorded this first part, but it turns out you couldn't hear a word I was saying. But to get you up to speed, I just put some olive oil on it so that it doesn't stick. Threw some seasoning on there. Nothing too crazy because a lot of times when I make this, the pepper ends up dominating the flavor anyway. So I don't go too crazy with the seasonings. And I always kind of trap all the steam in foil on top to keep it really moist so that your chicken doesn't end up really dry and gross. So I stick that in the oven. I usually set it to 425, and it's usually done in like 25 minutes. And the higher temp with the shorter time is just another measure to make sure that it comes out moist and not gross. So for cutting the peppers, I always use a paring knife. This is my favorite knife. It's a Cutco, so that sharp. So some people like to go in like this. They like to carve around the top and then gut it, kind of like gutting a pumpkin. But I find it a little bit more tedious that way. So I just usually half it like this. And then I cut the tops out. So I'm gonna cut the part with the seeds out like this. So it's easier this way because then all the seeds stay in the one spot and you can just cut that one part out whole instead of having them all throughout inside the pepper and then having to weave through and gut it and all that. So I just find that I'm just slicing vertically. Make sure it's in focus. I'm just slicing these vertically. So be very careful and just slide it like that. Yeah, vertical pieces. So now I'm sauteing my peppers, and as these soften, I'm going to start poking holes in them so they can kind of ventilate when they're boiling. So I'm going to prep my quesadillas now. So since we're going to be folding these in half, I just slice them right down the middle. Like so. And I got some organic Swiss cheese, but I got it thinly sliced, just so for portion reasons. So I just kind of put a layer here, about 3 slices. Alright, so I already went ahead and weighed my chicken, and it came out to 24 ounces. So, since I'm making 10 servings, each serving is going to have 2.4 ounces of chicken. One serving is going to be half of this, so we're actually going to be doing 4.8 ounces of chicken in this one. So I got my scale here. This part always makes me feel really bad because I'm like, do you know how long it takes to put on muscle? Do you know how many cable chest flies this chicken had to do to make these beans? And now we're about to eat them in like 2 seconds. Alright, so I have 4.8 ounces of chicken here. I distributed. Alright, and then I have about 3 ounces of the peppers that I'm going to be putting in there. And I have some black beans. I just got the canned ones for convenience of this video. I don't really worry too much about portion sizing these, or I should say like weighing them, because I'm just kind of scattering them throughout. Just kind of sprinkling them on here. Not too worried about it. I kind of just estimate when I enter it into my fitness pal. bulking or whatever, you can make this a whole serving size, but I'm gonna cut it in half. So I put these in the oven at 425 for about 7 minutes. There's egg in this cauliflower crust, so you actually have to cook it. Everything else was cooked separately, so I just needed it enough to cook that and melt the cheese. Alright, so we have our proteins all ready to go, and we're going to move on to the vegetables. Asparagus is washed. I just kind of line it up like you would a deck of cards, and I just slice the ends off like all the way down in a line. Just like that, so that all the ends just kind of, not that one. So while I was prepping my veggies, I put some water on to boil. And over here, I have my asparagus sauteing. I left some of that steak, I guess juice is the word, in the pan. It'll absorb some of the flavor. If you don't like that, you can just put some olive oil in there and that's fine. Whatever you like. I always put a lid on it so that it traps the steam and sautés a little bit better. And now I'm adding in my white sweet potatoes to boil. Not too worried about washing them because any germs are going to be boiled away anyway. And I added an olive oil based butter to my asparagus. My white sweet potatoes are boiled, so I'm just going to break up some of the bigger pieces with a fork. Now all I'm going to use in these are this unsweetened almond milk, this olive oil based butter, and some salt and pepper. So I don't really have a specific measurement that I use for this. I just kind of like do it to taste. So I'm gonna put some almond milk in there to start, just to get it a good consistency. So the longer you boil your potatoes, the easier they'll be to blend. Alright, so now I'm going to add some of this olive oil butter. Add some salt. And then some pepper. Need a little bit more of this. Some people skin the potatoes, but I don't mind the skin in it. It's like fiber, I don't know, it doesn't really bother me. We made it to the fun part. Each container is going to get 3.5 ounces of steak. So I'm going to put that in each container. After you put the container on, make sure that you press the tare button to bring it back to 0. Otherwise, it will count the weight of the container itself. So this is going to be 3.5 ounces in each one. Your portions may be bigger or smaller depending on your goals and your body type and all that. So I'm just showing you what I do. The way I do it is I will, in the beginning of the week, before I go meal prep shopping, I'll just do a sample day to kind of see where my macros are at on my FitnessPal. And that way I can adjust so I can see, okay, I need more of this or less of this, and I can just play with it until my numbers are right. and then I go from there. And that way, I don't have to keep entering what I'm eating into my MyFitnessPal every day, since I'm eating the same thing. I just have to enter the one day and then I'm covered for the entire week. I already know where everything's going to end up. It's the easiest way to go about it. It's really not as complicated as people make it out to be. It's just intimidating, but that's what I'm here for, to show you how to do it. Alright, next we have the asparagus. Also going to get 3 ounces. So what am I?
Okay, so that comes out to 5 stalks. So I'm just going to put 5 stalks.
Do the mashed sweet potatoes. I don't need the scale for this one because I'm going to measure it out with the measuring cup. I'm going to do a half a cup.
In each one.